Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining this session. Thank you, David, for joining me for this session. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having
Of
me.
course. So today, this session is called Unlocking Digital Growth Through AI. So joining me, for those of you who don't know, this is David Schloss. He began his marketing journey in a college apartment back in 2007, experimenting with ads and learning what truly moves people online. Today, he runs Convert ROI, managing millions in monthly ad spend for 400 plus brands. Crazy. And helping them grow traffic, sales, and revenue on Facebook and Instagram. An entrepreneur, author, speaker, and investor, David has been named a Forbes expert to watch and featured in Entrepreneur, Business Insider, and the Huffington Post. He's also the author of The New MBA, a guide to finding the right business opportunities, building wealth, and living a life you love. Thank you, David, again.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to set the tone with a nice little question so you can get an idea of what we're going to talk about today. So
Sure.
you've spent more than a decade mastering how people actually behave online, which
Yeah.
sounds like it must have changed very recently a lot. So that's probably
Yes.
something that's really fun to adjust for. Um, from
hmm
scaling paid social campaigns to refining conversion systems. Ooh,
Yeah.
with AI now reshaping everything from creative testing to audience insights, what's the biggest truth about digital consumer behavior that marketers still misunderstand trying to rush to adopt AI?
Yeah. So I would say that the behavior of audiences or people in general these days is because of the advent of AI in our space. We thought people were doing a lot of research before. They're taking it to another level now. Right. And so you can imagine, let's use e commerce as an example. Right. Clearly more than AI has affected e-commerce this year, right? Especially with tariffs. From an agency standpoint, we have to go through all those different variations of changes, right? From the tariffs to the AI component, which means that when people are making their buying decisions, they're not just going, can I afford this? Now they're looking at the reviews, they're looking at what ChatGPT is saying, they're looking at what Gemini is saying, and they're doing a comprehensive analysis, building it together, and then going, all right, does this align with my original decision
Mm,
of what I was looking to buy? Because even Google with their, AI search already baked in, it basically will tell you what is the top three things in said category and make a decision for you. And a lot of people are just going, cool, I'm going to take number one and just go from there. So the decision making tree is very different now than it was before, mainly just because it's more of like an assisted purchase now, where it's like you have an idea, an LLM goes, you know what? That's a great choice. And you're like, you know what? Okay. I don't have to think. I'm going to just go buy this thing. Reviews look all right. Purchase, right?
mhm.
So that affects a lot of how we are advertising for these companies because now we have to basically create an entire story as to why this product and or service is in clear connection to what it is you were looking for in the first place,
Mm.
how you got here, why did you land on our site, here's what we can prove to you as to why we're the best at said thing. And it's like we have to give you all these different components, all these touch points, and then hope you buy a $50 product or $100 product or whatever it may be. From a service perspective, $1,000, $5,000, like what makes us different from the other individual or group of companies that sell the same product or service. So
Mhm.
there's a lot more creative iteration involved, messaging, way more versions of messaging, different avatars we're talking to simultaneously. We didn't have to do that before. We could pick one and just go.
Mhm.
Now it's like pick five. All five have different variants, and we have to put everything out there.
Hmm. Do you feel like do you feel like people are investigating or researching their products or services more often now because they have more tools to do so? Or do you think that the marketing space in where all content is concerned is just very noisy? Or do you think it's a little bit of both?
It's a combo of both. The noisiness definitely increased because of the ability to create content so
Mm.
quickly, right? You could take a GPT, a Claude, a Gemini, GenSpark, whatever platform you like, throw up some ideas, content, spit back out at you in 5 seconds. Great. Now I got a carousel or a LinkedIn post or whatever.
Mhm.
Go to Nano Banana, bam, image. Go to, wherever it may be. And now you have a post done in 10, 15 minutes that used to take you an hour, sometimes longer,
Mm.
with actual research. Now I can go to GenSpark with a simple idea, say, give me the sources. It'll give me all those things in 5 minutes. And I just got to reread it to make sure it makes sense. Right. So these are all things that we didn't have at our disposal. And I know some people would think, wait, wasn't this out a year ago? Yes, but not in the way it looks now.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like GPT, when it first came out, was nowhere near what it is
Pretty
right now.
basic. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And it oftentimes did not give us results we when we read it, we were like, oh, this doesn't sound like a person at all. Now you wouldn't know. Take away the M dashes, you wouldn't know, right? But outside of that, it's like, wow, okay, was this a human or was this a software choice? And so I'm finding that yes, there's more research, there's also more noise, and on top of that, it's just our ability to essentially we could spin up ideas and craft all these different versions of ideation we've done, put it out there, and know within 24 to 48 hours did we go in the right direction, and then go from there. You couldn't do that before. So it's the speed of implementation, and I feel all those things do create more noise overall, right? And so now we're just having to find our way to like weave through it all and hope that our message is in front of the people we want to be in front of as fast as possible. So yeah.
Yeah, that definitely does change things up. And like, even though the speed of being able to be successful in certain things may be more efficient using some of these tools, you have to show up in so many more places in order to be successful.
Yes.
So it's kind of like it evens out at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
And I hate the M dashes being so popular with ChatGPT because I loved them before. I loved using them beforehand, and now people think I'm
Mhm.
using ChatGPT when I type, and it makes me upset. It's like the
Yeah.
biggest pain point I
It's
have.
weird to have to not use them now when we've used them for so long. But, it is what it is. At some point, we'll forget about it. But for now, can't use them
Or maybe
anymore.
they'll just stop
So, yeah.
using them one day and then I won't have to be annoyed anymore. But so as AI tools and automation become more advanced, how are you integrating it into your workload? Like whether for ad creation, optimization,
Mhm.
whatever. Like how was your workflow changed with more incorporations of this?
So, the one that we saw the most immediate impact in terms of reduced time involved in a project was actually around competition research, because competition research would take us hours, if not sometimes days,
Mm,
to go through ad libraries, go through people's websites, look at their PPC data if it was readily available, right? Like just doing all sorts of different levels of research into these companies to then compile all of it, go back to my team and then say, now what angles can we gather from all this information, right? What are the sales mechanisms that these companies are using? What platforms are they generating results from? Like we couldn't do that in less than a day before. It used to take us a week, 3 days, 4 days. If we were lucky, maybe 2 days if it was a smaller company or a smaller campaign. Now, and I'm just gonna say Gemini because I did this yesterday and I was blown away with how quickly it did it for me. Like I could say search the Google and Meta libraries uh, around this company and their top five competition. It'll pull all the competition, right? It'll tell me what their URLs are. It'll give me all the ads. Here's how many that are active. It'll tell me all the different things that we used to do manually, and then put it in a Google Doc. It's compatible in a click, which saves me so much time.
mm-hmm.
And then from there, because it does its own version of deep research, I can click the button and walk away, which was great to be able to just, oh, okay, I'm gonna go do something else, right? But to then come back and have 18 pages of research done, all formatted perfectly with tables. Here's what's working. Here's what's not. Here's a sales mechanism. Here's the angles they're using. We could start on the ads today. We couldn't do that before. So our speed of implementation is that much faster. Now, okay, competition research, couple clicks, cool, sounds great. Let me take it a step further. Copy. Every copy framework we've ever used that we know works with all these clients, I'm able to take all those frameworks, put them into Claude in a project, and anytime I say I want a piece of copy for this client and all this info that we've gathered from them using framework one, which is I'll make something up, Alex Hermosi's ads, structure.
Mm-hmm.
I can say that it knows exactly what it's looking for and what it needs to piece together, and it just writes it. Couldn't do that before
Mm-hmm.
in a couple minutes, right? So everything that used to take us a day at a time or a couple days at a time has now been shrunk down to same day. I don't say an hour or a couple hours. I say same day because we'll do multiple variations of this a couple times over in different LLMs just to make sure we have an all encompassing
Yeah,
strategy,
of
right?
course.
Here's what GPT's given us. Here's what Claude's given us. Here's what Gemini's given us. So on and so forth. And then we will look at all of it and go, okay, what do we like the most? What are we going to start with? All these are all things that would take 2-3 days at a time. So imagine an entire onboarding would take 7 to 10 days. Now it would take us 2 days. The part that might take longer is just the client connecting us to everything we need. But the actual getting creative done, getting videos done, Google VO, boom, plug in all the stuff I just said. Hey, make me a video around this. And then we could piece together multiple videos with our Opus Clip account. Boom, we got a video ad, right? These are all different things we didn't have before. Now I still hire editors, I still hire video producers for a variety of reasons because some of the AI stuff still needs some work,
Yeah.
but it gets pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with imagery, it just gives us something to split test. Same thing with copy. Like we'll use our own AI copy, so to speak, versus a copywriter and test it because we're supposed to as advertisers is test everything. So it's the speed. It's being able to do everything we would normally do from research to launch in, let's just say, 60% less time.
Yeah, no, and it gives you the opportunity to focus on things that are maybe more important, especially for that. Like, you obviously, I mean, you build these processes so that things are more seamless, but now that you can teach something these processes that can do them, the
Mm-hmm.
same exact way every time, I mean, that's incredible. Like, that's such an opportunity because, I mean, you made it so that it is faster for you to do, but now it's even faster for this other thing to do, and you set yourself up for success by already having the processes built out to be able to send
Yep,
over.
exactly. And we screen share everything, right? So we're already using the native tools we already had, Loom, ScreenFlow, things like that. And we were already taking down everything with these screen share videos. Now we're just doing that exact same thing in these LLMs, which all the history is there too. So I can always share the history over to someone else's account or they access it in the team account. And they don't ever miss anything because they could look through the whole chat history. They could look at how we came up with the questions, where the questions originated from. And it's actually far more transparent than it was before because it's all there. Here's the
Mm-hmm.
records of everything, right? And because of that, I could actually leave off on a project and someone could take over and you would never know that someone else took over. Before you would see ad copy and go, "Oh, this isn't the same person."
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
the structure looks different. The tonality is different. Now, you don't know if I wrote it or one of my team members wrote it because we all use the same structures.
No, that's
And
really
so
nice.
that allows us to create that synergy. It also allows me to, if I have to take a week off for some reason, things run. I don't have to worry about it, right? And if a client only wants to talk to me or they only want to know that the ads were done by me, someone else could jump in there and be me for a little bit and we could still submit something on my behalf and they wouldn't know. And that's okay. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that paves the way for more seamless content as well because like I mean, it is difficult when even in the scenario where like someone leaves the company and like
Mm-hmm.
you've been using their voice for so long and like their perspective,
Yes.
and then if like it's easier to be able to train something to do some like train some form of AI to be able to do that project than to train someone to be that person. Um,
Yep.
and so that might like that I can see that would make things more I don't want to say uniform because obviously different campaigns are unique, but like more seamless in the way that it comes out for knowing that something isn't different person to person, like you mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah. And the fact that you can create different projects or folders I'll just use one of my team members, Kristen, right? Let's say Kristen writes all these different ad copy variations, different pages, different emails, and she decides to go get another job.
Mm-hmm.
We could still take all the work she's ever created, put it in that project. Kristen's email, Kristen's ad copy, Kristen's VSLs, whatever it may be. And then if we ever wanted to rerun that same style as how she's produced things in the past, we could easily just use the project,
Mm-hmm.
punch in everything, and go, hey, this is what our AI has developed based on Kristen's way of writing,
Yeah, you don't
based
use
on how
the
she put her
value.
email together.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And at the same time, they understand that that's there. Right. All we're trying to do is create a data bank of opportunity.
Mhm.
Like, we're not trying to replace anybody. I've actually made that very clear. Yeah, I could be replaced too. I understand that. But you know what still has not been figured out? Whether or not an ad campaign should continue to run.
Mm.
Because a lot of the AI that has been built agentically to like turn things off, turn things on, when to scale it up, they forget that these ad dashboards are usually incorrect. Even with third party info, you can't look at another dashboard, then look at the ad account, and then the AI goes, well, based on this account, I got to go in here and make this other change. It's like it's not doing that yet,
Yeah.
right? But it's not doing that right now, and it's going off of just that main dashboard. And Meta is not ever 100% correct, and so it'll turn things off that should have stayed on, things that are on that should have been off. Certain ads getting turned off that were actually doing well, and now the whole campaign's died off.
Yeah.
That is still something that we, the media buyers, the agencies, still have to do. But if we can make the rest of the process of up to launch, or you know quicker ideation, so we can scale a lot faster with more ad creative, like that's stuff that we couldn't do efficiently before. Now we are efficient with it. And if a company want to go from $1,000 a day and spend to 10,000, we don't have to wait a week to do it. We can do it tomorrow,
Mm.
because we can get everything we need in place to do that. And so that is the advantage we have now, is you still need people to execute on these items. But then at the same time, because of our knowledge and our basically our experience, we could be far more effective in how we're deploying things right now. And we don't have to wait.
Yeah.
So we could scale faster.
No, and even commenting on like your mention of the ad budget too, like like what's changed about the way you approach low budget campaigns specifically? Because I believe
Mhm.
you talked about that before. Like, what are the best practices now that you recommend to clients like wanting to scale without spending huge, with AI now being incorporated into the playing field?
Yeah. So I would tell you, whether you're an individual advertiser or you are a corporate entity, right? If you're spending less than $3,000 a month, don't hire an agency. I just want to make that very clear. You can have someone in house do it, because $100 a day is enough to learn. And quite honestly, at $100 a day, you're at least getting enough data to understand what's going on. What's in the dashboard? What does it look like? What is it telling me? What do I keep on? What do I turn off? Right? You're understanding that. Now, are you at a point of scale? No. Scale is relative to everybody, but like some people consider $500 a day scale. Some look at it as 1,000. To me, it's when you're over $2,000 a day, you're hitting scale. That's what real scale looks like. Because once you hit that point, you will hit all sorts of different ceilings and different problems you've never experienced before. But you are going through them a lot faster. Like, you're learning very quickly. Even at 1,000 a day, you can learn very quickly, but it's a different problem once you're at that much higher level of spend. So, first off, $100 a day, $3,000 a month, you do it yourself. Even if you're a company that's been doing great off referrals and word of mouth and all that for decades,
Mm-hmm.
have someone in house do it for you at $100 a day. Don't even bother an agency. When you're at the point of getting to $200 to $300 a day in spend, so $6,000 to $9,000 a month, then you can talk to agencies or specialists that do this sort of work. And I say that because some people don't want to do the work at all. They just don't want to. They just want to know that it works, right? That's why we still get hired to this day. That is why large companies will come to us and go, "Look, we've hired people. We still feel like something's missing. Could you please just take over and tell us what's
Figure
wrong?"
it out,
And
please.
no problem. Yeah, that's what we
Mhm.
do, right? 18 years in the game, no problem. So that at least gives us some leeway to play with too, because now we know the spend is there for us to do all of our different frameworks and see what is actually working.
Mhm.
But for scale, I would say that if you're starting out with, let's say, $25 a day, that's learning to you. It's not even the learning phase. You're learning how to deploy an ad. You're learning how to set up an ad set. You're learning how to put out 1 to 5 creatives, and you're not going to touch it for 3 to 4 days, right? But even at $100 a day, you're not going to check it for 2 or 3 days. Like, everything is 2 or 3 days for the most part. And even at scale, you could spend $1,000 a day for 3 days. Think you know what's working, and by the fifth day, all of a sudden the results are completely opposite, and you're like, "Oh, what did I just do wrong?" Right? You did nothing wrong. You gave it time. I call it the marinating process. You're just letting it sit. You're not doing anything. And you need to let the algorithm, I hate saying this, but it's the truth. You gotta let the algorithm do its thing, right? There's a reason Meta keeps trying to tell us they're going to let the algos figure it out. Well, they're not. But someone still needs to turn off things that are overspending. Someone still needs to go, oh, you know what? I want more spend over here than over there. But the more options they've taken away from us, we've just adapted and been able to go, don't touch this. Just let it ride, and then give it a couple days. And as long as you could be patient, no matter if your budget's $10 a day or $1,000 a day, you oftentimes will figure out, okay, what direction do I need to go next? More creative, more audiences, maybe neither, and I just got to let it sit for a little longer, and that'll give you more of an understanding of how the network works. Because how you do things in Meta could be very different from Google, could be very different from AppLovin, could be very different from
Mhm.
Taboola, and they all have the same exact starting point. You want to start low, don't touch it. Just just put it out there and wait a couple days, and then learn how to read the dashboard before you make your decisions.
Yeah, it's kind of like
So,
investing. Like you should probably start
right,
if you're starting
go
low,
buy
then you
some
should just
Tesla, go buy some
don't
Amazon.
just pull it
Don't
out.
touch
Don't just
it.
pull
Yeah,
it
just leave it alone.
out.
It's the same exact thing. And I'm glad you said that, because investing and advertising are very similar. You're reading graphs all day. You're understanding profit and losses. When something is working in your ad account, they don't change the colors of the data. I wish they did, because then I would know, oh, today's worse, it's red, right? Oh, today's great, it's green. Like that would actually help me understand like what to turn off and on. But it's very much like a stock chart. We look at graphs all day, right? And when you see the, oh, sales, oh, no sales, it's like it's very similar. So that's why oftentimes advertisers are also the worst when it comes to stocks, because they overanalyze everything. But at the same time, it's very similar in how we go about it, right? It's like make a decision, buy it, don't touch it, right? And that's what we need to do more of. And I think a lot of advertisers and business people should be the same way. So yeah,
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, sometimes you just need to wait things out. And I think also with, specifically with marketing, like sometimes you plan for something to go a certain way and you don't know
Mhm.
if it'll actually do that. But if you don't give it some time, like a lot of people pull away when something actually is working. It's just not reaching the goals that they want in a short enough amount of time. And,
Exactly.
sometimes that matters, I guess, but sometimes, you do need to wait things out and see like you need more data, and sometimes time gives you that data.
Yep, absolutely.
And you also mentioned when you were just talking about like whether you want to see like whether something should be like more creative or more this like how do you see AI changing the creative side of ads, like concepting, copywriting, image, video generation, like without sacrificing brand voice and authenticity? Because I think that's what people are really worried about, like AI slop,
Yeah,
as I hear a lot.
I think I think a lot of people, when they consider it AI slop, they're looking at imagery that's oftentimes like cartoons, right? Or they're looking at like, oh, it's anime style or it's pop art, right? So they see that and they go, all the AI generated imagery looks the same because it's the same styles. The common man and woman thinks of the same styles. You get something to a graphic designer and you ask them, how many different styles of creative are you aware of? Like, we're talking like stylistically, how many different things can you come up with? They might come up with 30.
Mhm.
I might think of 5, right? So it's very easy for me to say AI slop, because it's like I'm only doing things in 5 ways. Whereas my designer, I could give him an idea, he'll take that and make all these different versions that I didn't know existed. And it won't even look like AI. It'll look like me. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting in a chair. I'm like, I never sat in that chair. Or I'm in this room and I was never in that room. And these are all things that the average person doesn't know how to do,
Mhm.
right? Unless they practice.
Mhm.
And so I would say from brand voice perspective, it's a lot easier now to put the verbiage, the logo, the color scheme, all that was once very difficult to incorporate on the imagery side of things, now is very easy to do. You can even put it, I'll use Nano Banana as an example. You could tell it, hey, take this logo, put it in the top right. For the text, make sure it says David Schloss in this text format. If anything, use the logo that I attached for you. And like, you can give it that detail. It'll do it. Not only will it do it, it'll do it right, like the first time.
Mhm.
Right. And then on top of that, and I mentioned the whole, like, I didn't sit in that chair. My designer figured out a way to like make it look like I'm sitting in a chair. I cross my leg. I'm wearing Jordans. I have a Rolex on. I'm like, how did we do all this? I've First off, yeah, I have those things, but I've never sat in that chair. I've never been in that room. Like, how'd you make that happen? These are all things we couldn't do before unless we had photo shoots or videos or anything like that. So I don't think there's any issues with putting all that together, right? I think it's more so people just haven't figured out how to stylistically combine all those elements together, and they don't know what platform to use. They just use GPT.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah. No, I completely understand that. I think that a lot of people just yeah, they have a certain viewpoint in mind about like what something from AI looks like, and I think that's like, I think that's probably a good thing. When people should
Yeah.
be able to recognize whether something's real or fake sometimes.
But also think about it. GPT is the most popular platform.
Uh-huh.
It has the most, I'll call it star power, but they don't even have the most money. They just have the most, like the most brand mentions, the most, like they have the loudest CEO. Like if you really think about it, they're just the loudest in the room.
Hmm.
Think of Google just sliding their way in, just very quietly, but
Hmm.
they have money forever, and so they will make sure that every mistake you make, we're just going to make it better, right? And that's why you hear things like Gemini coming out with all this stuff. I'm like, why isn't anyone talking about this? Oh, because they do it very stealth.
Yeah.
They're like, they wait for you to make a move, and they're like, we can do that better, and then they just go ahead and make something better, and then they release it, sometimes for free, sometimes already a part of a package you already have, and that's the other thing. Anthropic does that with Claude, and all the other platforms do the same because they know that GPT is basically like it's like when the first search engine came out, right? It's like, okay, this is what's available. This is the AOL. Everyone's using AOL. Everyone's using Yahoo. And then Google came around and is like, we got it. And lo and behold, Google is doing it again, right? But it's one of those things where we're simply just seeing all these platforms come out, and we're just picking and choosing what we like based off of our current knowledge base. And then over time, the more we test different platforms, the better our output becomes. And I just think the average person's only using one or two platforms, and that's it. That's all they're great with, and they think that that's how it's going to look. I'm like, I don't know.
So
If you can take every element of your business and it could be on a separate platform. And yes, you'll have 90 different memberships at $20 a month, but at least you would have everything optimized accordingly versus using just one platform for everything.
Yeah, and these were like perfect comparisons too, because you were just talking about like creative and the idea that when your creative on staff is like looking at something created by AI or utilizing AI in some way, they still have a creative lens when they're going into looking at that. Similarly
Mm-hmm.
to what you mentioned with Google watching other platforms create something, like Google is a veteran in the space now at this point, like in so to
Yep.
speak, that they have a lens of like what people already like in this space. Obviously that's changing, but they can utilize that knowledge that they already have and make a better platform than maybe some people
Mm-hmm.
that are, the
Mm-hmm.
ones that are most popular right now, just because maybe they're the first or they're one of the first.
Exactly.
And I think that's something that is really vital to still have an understanding of a space in order to use some of these things properly.
Agreed. Agreed.
And speaking of looking forward, because I love to ask people of every different industry of like what you think things will look like, because I think
Mm.
everyone has kind of different expectations of what AI will become. Like, how do you envision the next wave of digital marketing innovation, like changing the role of agencies specifically? Like, I don't know if you were like advising a marketing agency today, like what would you recommend should be like their first AI driven experiment, like something that they should
Mm-hmm.
focus on if they're not really looking into it?
Voice agents. So I'm giving away some sauce here. All right. So here's the thing. There are businesses and industries that will always be 3 to 5 years behind. Okay. As somebody who's been told that Facebook ads were going to die since 2016, and they're still around, actually, they're bigger than ever right now. I've been told my agency was going to be non existent by now. And I say all that because it just further proves that we are the cream of the crop when it comes to the AI technology. Like, we're technically in part of the tech space. When you think about marketing now, it's like we're kind of like a hybrid of that. We're understanding tech, we're understanding finance and investing, we're understanding, data science, and like we're a combination of all, which puts us at an advantage and disadvantage. Disadvantage being we're delusional. We think that everything is moving 100 miles an hour when Joe Schmo, who's making 20 times more than us as an electrician in Palm Beach, Florida, is just fixing houses from burning down, and he's doing 20 million a year, and we're like, what are we doing wrong? We're not doing anything wrong. We're just looking at it from the wrong lens. And so I say all that because there's businesses, and I'll use home services because I love home services. That space is terrible with follow-up. Horrible, horrible, horrible. And the thing is, they don't want to go hire 9 people for the phone because they don't have enough lead gen. But then if you turn on lead gen, they complain that they don't have enough people on the phone. So it's this double-edged sword of like, what do you want? Well, I want to make more money. Okay, let's turn on the leads, get some ads. They turn that on. Oh my God, the calendars are packed and everyone's calling my phone all day and I don't know if it's my supplier. Got it. Let's go hire some people. Well, I don't want to hire people. Okay, but there's so many people in that same boat in various industries. And so how do you solve that? You get some voice agents in play to collect information or take care of your customer support, because there's going to be people coming in as well who are just like, I'm looking for information I can't find on your website. And then that agent can supply that information. Thank you so much. If you want us to have a callback, click this button, boom, puts them on the callback list, right? These are things that could be simplified and done at scale, because we could have 9 agents running now, right now, and have one person on the phone, a real person, but we're still collecting information. That is done in so many spaces on home services that electricians can have more lead flow. You know, the HVAC person who's now working on somebody's AC system in Florida because it's too hot, all of a sudden is like, well, I got 4 other calls for people who have the same problem and I didn't have to answer the phone, right? And that's the other thing is we don't like to have people who are doing jobs in our house to be answering other sales calls, right? So we're basically taking care of that for them. Now, take it one step further. There are still industries where people are not running ads on platforms that people are saying should have been dead already. Just saying, right? Meta, still around, bigger than ever. Google, still around, bigger than ever. YouTube, people still don't use it properly, right? There's all these platforms that are the native platforms that people know that spend billions of dollars on. And there are still companies that are making 1 to 10, sometimes $20 million that still have never run an ad on any of these platforms, right? So the opportunity is still there. We're just too busy fighting in the same pie for the same people. And so if you are someone who's just now starting an agency, or maybe you're reevaluating your agency standards in terms of who you're going to do work with, why don't you look for the industries where AI is still not tapped into fully? Or partner with some businesses that buy a lot of businesses and figure out where they need to improve their operations. And then you become a part of that. Just saying.
No, I think that's great advice, and I specifically love the mention of the AI voice agents, because I definitely think that's underutilized for a lot of industries, although I think that people are constantly worried about like customer frustration with not being able to reach an actual person. But I think people are probably going to be more frustrated if they can't reach anyone at all, whether that's a fake person or a real person. So,
and that's only if the fake person does not have the knowledge base to answer a question.
Yeah.
Because these voice agents now sound like people, and they are ran by people that are supplying the information.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can put 100 pages of info where the agent can answer the question and it answers it for you, are you still mad? No. It's when someone's asking a question that should be simple to answer and the agent says can't understand. That's when they get frustrated. It's like, what do you mean you can't understand? I'm talking clearly.
Exactly.
AI these days can understand dialect. It can understand different languages, all these other things. The old school, I'll call it old school, voice systems were more so just common questions. Click 1, click 2, all the way to 9. If none of the answers fall within any of those 9 questions, then get a customer support person. This is different. This is ask anything. And if it can find it in that gigantic doc you've probably uploaded into its system, if it still can't answer, it'll say, I cannot answer this for you, but I will take your information down and I will make sure someone gets back to you. It'll say it just like that and collect the info, and I can call the person back.
And real people do that to me all the time at the DMV, so.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'd rather hear that than just, sorry, can't understand what you're asking. Like that makes me angry. Versus, you know what, I cannot find the answer for you, and I'll ensure that someone will get back to you to make sure that it's taken care of in the next hour, right? If the system says that because it knows that no one has a calendar situation going on because it can triangulate the information, then guess what? Somebody can call you back in an hour and can answer that question for you. That is the efficiency part that a lot of businesses don't have, right? I call my chiropractor, reschedule an appointment. They actually call me back within 30 minutes of me saying I need to reschedule because their system notifies them, hey, David called, said he wants to reschedule, no one was available, and boom, it shows up right on their computer saying this guy needs a call back because they have a voice agent installed,
Mm-hmm.
a real one, right? So a lot of businesses are missing out on that, but it also will help with their lead flow. It'll help with their ability to follow up. And it's just another way of making sure that they're in communication with the people who are, trying to find some information about what it is they're looking for. It's not just email and text anymore. It's like we can actually call you back with the agent too if you wanted us to. So yeah, just that's just one of those things that I'm looking forward to next year.
I think that is a great place to end because you ended on a future looking note, which is perfect.
Yeah,
But this was absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for joining me, David. I had
no
a
problem.
great time. I think you provided a lot of insight into our industry, which I think will be really helpful for our audience. So thank you guys for listening as well. Thank you, David, again. And I hope you guys have a lovely digital cut. Thank you.